You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Welcome to Product Thursday. Today, we're really digging into a fundamental shift that's happening, right now, in how we build and interact with technology.
It's happening so fast.
It really is. This isn't some slow trend.
Mhm.
It feels more like a massive pivot that affects,
Everything.
everyone.
And at the heart of it, there's this really interesting tension. You have AI getting incredibly good at the actual creation of interfaces. It's handling the pixels, the layout, the code.
The grunt work, basically.
Exactly. Which means the designer's job has to change. It's moving away from drawing boxes and more towards the integrity of the whole experience. Sometimes the best design is designing less technology.
And we're already seeing this happen. You don't have to look into the future. Just look at the latest update to ChatGPT Voice. They finally merged the voice and text modes into one single interface.
And that's such a bigger deal than it sounds. It gets rid of so much friction. Before, you'd be staring at that blue circle, just waiting.
Right, just waiting for it to think.
And now you can talk to it and you see the text, you see images, maps, your chat history. It's all there on one screen at the same time. It lets you have a real fluid conversation without waiting for the app to switch modes.
Okay, so let's unpack that, because it feels like we're seeing two completely different futures for interfaces emerge at the same time. On one hand, you have that richer, more comprehensive conversation like the ChatGPT update.
And on the other, you have this move towards what's called calm technology. Sam Altman is really pushing this. He's been talking about the upcoming OpenAI device designed by Jony Ive.
The screenless one.
Screenless one. It's meant to be the exact opposite of the noisy, buzzing phone in your pocket. Just a simple pocket-sized thing that you interact with through voice.
They're trying to get rid of the cognitive load by just removing the screen entirely. But that feels like a huge responsibility. How do you trust an invisible AI to decide what to show you or what not to show you?
That is the absolute central challenge of that product. The goal isn't just to be simple, it's to build a massive amount of trust over a long time. Altman said he wants it to feel as peaceful as a cabin by a lake.
A cabin by a lake. That's a high bar.
A very high bar. And he admits, that kind of tech is probably still about 2 years away.
That vision sounds amazing, but yeah, we're not there. Right now, talking to an AI can be pretty messy, especially with the really advanced ones, the agentic AIs.
Oh, yeah.
You watch them start to think, and this long process begins, and suddenly your original question, what you asked 5 minutes ago, is scrolled away off the screen. It's a huge usability problem.
It really is. And it brings up this problem of how you show the AI's thinking process without just overwhelming people. But there's a really clever fix for this. A new dual scroll pane layout.
Okay, so break that down for me.
So imagine your chat window, but it's split down the middle. On the left side, you see all the AI's complex work, the calculations, the tool use, all the steps it's taking.
The messy part.
The messy part. And then on the right side, the final clean answer appears. The great thing is, your original prompt and the AI's process are both always visible. You never lose your place.
And what happens when it's done thinking? Does all that stuff on the left just stay there?
Nope. It collapses into a neat little summary. You can click to reopen it if you want, and each step in the summary links right to the relevant part of the answer on the right. It's a structural fix for a structural problem.
That's a great solution. But let's talk about the really interesting part. On a bigger scale,
Yeah.
it's not just about interacting with interfaces. It's about automating the design of the interface itself. I'm talking about Google's Generative UI.
Yeah, using Gemini 3 Pro, it creates custom interfaces, screens, workflows, everything on the fly for each individual person.
This is a massive shift away from building one expensive website for everyone toward creating cheap, disposable, personalized interactions.
And the data is it's stunning. Test users preferred the AI-generated interfaces 90% of the time.
90%. That's a profound statement about how bad a lot of traditional web design is.
It is, and it forces you to completely rethink what a designer does. Right now, human designers still have a slight edge on pure aesthetics, but it's narrow, like 56% to 43%.
A gap that's closing fast.
It'll probably be gone by late 2026. And remember, Google is planning to roll this out across 5 billion users.
So if you have 5 billion different versions of an experience, how does a company even keep a consistent brand or a reliable user journey?
That's the new problem, right? It shifts from design execution to design governance. And just look at the tools that are making this happen. This whole idea of vibe coding is exploding.
Like coding.
Yeah, where you just describe the app you want, like in plain English, and the AI builds it. There's this AI startup, Lovable, that doubled its annual revenue to $200 million in just 4 months from this.
That's insane growth. It just shows the demand.
It's incredible. And then you have tools like Replit Design Mode, also using Gemini, that can create an interactive mock-up or even a full website in less than 2 minutes from a simple prompt.
So if the machine is doing all the heavy lifting, generating the code, the layouts, doing the how so fast, what is left for the human designer to do? How do you make sure the AI's work is actually any good?
The job pivots to structure and discipline. You have to move away from just styling things and start defining the rules of the entire system. And to get production-ready code from an AI, you need 3 things in your design system: semantic naming, auto layout, and design tokens.
We hear those terms a lot, but why are they so critical for AI?
Because that's the language the AI understands. Semantic naming tells the AI that a primary button is always a button, no matter what it looks like. Auto layout defines how elements relate to each other, so the AI can't break the layout.
And design tokens.
Design tokens are just the raw variables, the colors, the fonts, the spacing turned into code. You're basically writing the mathematical grammar of your brand for the AI to follow.
So you're not designing the screen anymore. You're designing the rule book, the blueprint that the AI has to build from.
Precisely. And you even create what are called cheat sheet files that explicitly tell the AI your coding standards and rules. It turns your design system into the single source of truth for both humans and AI.
Which brings us back to what humans do best. If the machine handles the how, the designer has to master the what and the why. And that's really about human engineering.
That is the core discipline now. Human engineering is all about designing systems that make the right choice easy and the wrong choice difficult. It's about reducing the user's cognitive load, using classic principles like affordances and constraints.
This makes me think of those classic examples like a badly designed stove where you can never remember which knob controls which burner.
Exactly. Or Don Norman's famous Norman doors. The doors where you can never tell if you're supposed to push or pull.
Right. And the point is, it's not your fault you're confused, it's a design failure.
That's the fundamental insight. Most of what we call human error is actually design failure. The moment you stop blaming the user and start fixing the system, everything gets better. The responsibility shifts from the person back to the design.
And this must be even more critical when you're designing for people under stress, right? In an emergency or some high-pressure situation.
Oh, absolutely. When you're designing for stress, you have one job: minimize cognitive load. That means single tasking, a clear order of actions, and really sensible defaults. You assume the user can't think clearly.
So you break it down into tiny, simple steps.
One step at a time. You only show them the one thing they need to do right now, not the whole checklist. And you build in safeguards so they literally can't make a dangerous mistake. Clarity trumps everything.
It's such a specialized skill set. But what does this mean for the design job market today? It sounds like the bar is getting higher.
It's a bit of a weird situation right now. You're seeing more architects and industrial designers moving into UX and UI for better pay, and their training in human-centered systems makes them a great fit.
So there's an influx of talent.
A big one. But at the same time, the market is totally saturated, especially for junior designers. Getting that first job is just brutally competitive.
And the education system isn't helping.
That's the other problem. A lot of industry leaders are saying design education is actually, well, lower quality than it used to be, but it's more expensive and disconnected from what companies actually need.
So you have unprepared graduates from expensive programs trying to break into a hyper-competitive field that now requires them to be experts in psychology and AI systems. That sounds rough.
It is. The skills you need are evolving faster than the universities can keep up.
So looking at the big picture here, it seems we have to remember that design is so much more than just the screen in front of you.
We have to resist that urge to just call it product design. Its real value is holistic. It's about using deduction, induction, and especially abduction, which is the one thing AI really can't do.
Explain abduction for us.
Sure, deduction uses rules to find a result. Induction uses data to create a rule. But abduction is that creative leap. It's coming up with a totally new idea, a new possible future that didn't exist before. The human has to be the one who imagines that better future.
And when a company loses sight of that holistic view, things can go very wrong. like that Marriott and Citizen M example.
Oh, that's such a painful and perfect example. Citizen M built this hugely loyal following because they had a seamless app experience. You could book, check in, control your room, everything in one place. It was beautiful.
And then Marriott bought them.
And then Marriott bought them. And the first thing that happened is the app started kicking you over to the Marriott website to book a room.
Ugh. So it broke the entire flow.
It completely killed it. It destroyed the simplicity and trust that the entire brand was built on. It shows you what happens when corporate priorities steamroll a carefully designed user experience.
It's a powerful argument for integrity, even when you get a huge buyout offer.
And you see that integrity in open source tools like Blender or OBS or PenPot. Their creators turned down huge offers because they wanted to maintain their core values and keep the tools accessible for everyone. It just proves that software inherits the values of its creators.
This has been another exploration into product design from the vocal technologist. It feels like we are in this strange moment where interfaces are both dissolving and automating.
They're dissolving into that cabin by the lake simplicity on one hand and automating into this massive generative UI complexity on the other.
And the designer's job is no longer about pushing pixels. It's about providing the structure, the rules, and the empathy.
And I think the ultimate challenge now is about accountability. Think about Florence Nightingale. Her real legacy wasn't just nursing, it was fixing an information crisis. She restructured how hospitals collected data to make it impossible to ignore problems with hygiene and care.
So design leaders today need to be the Florence Nightingale of the digital world.
In a way, yes. The challenge is creating new structures and standards that make your whole organization accountable for the user experience, even when an AI is building the interface. If you have 5 billion AI-generated UIs, how do you, the designer, guarantee quality and safety across all of them? That structural challenge is everything.
That is a daunting but really necessary thought to end on. Thank you for walking us through the future of design.
Spoken Tech for your ears.